Hey, it's Stu, and this is a book haul. Okay, I'm starting to get like conflicted about unhauling my books. And I think I'm more conflicted about having trepidation or maybe just a little trepidation is in the way, hesitancy, um, taking pause and thinking, do I really want to unhaul? I'm starting to be more concerned about that than the amount that I'm hauling. Maybe if I got my hauling under control, then I wouldn't feel like the same kind of like urge to think that maybe that would fix it, is all I have to say. Or maybe not. Let me explain myself. Look at this beautiful volume of this edition of this book, is what I want to say. And in fact, I hauled 2 books and there were more, and I stuck to 2. Why? Because these both have editions at the library, and this is not accessible font for me because of the contrast. But like I had a lengthy conversation with the person checking me out at the book sale that, am I really going to read this book? Or do I just want this book because this is a Icelandic classic author and I one day want to read it and it's beautiful. I want to put it on display and I want to keep it on display for a while. So that means if I continue my read and unhaul, I will absolutely say it's too big to read. I'll come up with every reason possible not to read it. And I actually really want to read this author. So let me digress for a second. I have this, Paradise Reclaimed, and this has an introduction by Jane Smiley. And this is by the same author, which is Hallador Laxness. I don't think this one's translated. Let me see. Oh, it is translated. Yeah, by Magnus Magnusson, and that's probably who the translator is here too. Let me do my investigations. No, this is by Philip Ruffton. Okay, this one takes place, I think the setting is Utah, and that's why Jane Smiley is writing the intro. Hallador Laxness is a classics author. This is a fantastic edition. I love this edition of this book. It's also like, it was published a long time ago, but you can tell that if it was read, it was kept in almost pristine. Okay, 2002 was when this edition was published, but the 1960s was when this book was written. It doesn't exist I can't get it from my library. I haven't checked if I could like buy it from, another service, so I might check. But the point is I don't know. I could, this font will work a lot better, I think, for me. So I might just want to read it. But it was in a stack of like, okay, let's be real. Are you really going to read this physical copy? Because if not, you need to unhaul it. Well, now that even though they don't match, and I wouldn't necessarily put them together, or would I? I don't know. I mean, my mind's going wild. Now that I have 2 Hallador Laxnesses, I also feel more inspiration, push to go ahead and read him as an author. I certainly have a friend who would love either copy of these books once I'm done, so maybe that's what will get me to act, which is to go ahead and just unhaul to a friend, because I think that they would find this to be a good gift. So let me go on with my haul, shall I? Because I don't think I'm going to solve the problem of will I never ever stop unhauling 100% of the books I read, or, well, I've already tagged that Louise Erdrich. No, it's pertinent. It's going to come up. This is Tolly Girls, and this is by Siamak Hawaii, and it's translated from the Farsi by Sarah Khalili. So because the other one was a classic, I'm thinking these are kind of like, these could be classic books reeditioned. I'm looking for a publication date, friends. And I can't see one in this light. I think it says 1988. Strange, because right now my Friends of the Library Bookshop doesn't want to house books that haven't been published past 2005. Even if they are even if they are classics. That's just one of the things. No, this is 2023. Okay, I'll look up this book, find out more about this book. Is this publishing house? Is this Europa? I'm totally off script, just unhinged. No, this is Archipelago. Yeah, Archipelago books. Okay. Anyway, there were more editions like this. I restrained myself from them, and you'll see why in a second, because I first had to decide if I really wanted this, and then I'll move on. Redemption in Indigo. They actually had 2 copies. I've passed this up several times before, but there was just something about this book being so like non-pretentious in its presentation. Like the word redemption in it, I just feel like this felt to me like a book that I will want to read with a dystopian. And I've been hauling or not reading dystopians because I've been avoiding dystopians. But intricately woven tale of adventure, magic, and the power of human spirit. That's what this book is about. A contemporary fairy tale in Caribbean literature. So there's that. This book, by the way, is by Karen Lord, and it felt like the kind of book I would like to read, like I said, around a dystopian. And so I grabbed it today, like, because I have no control. Art of Camouflage by Sarah Power. I'd actually passed this up before. I've seen it before. This is short stories. I didn't really want or need any more short story collections. This I don't know anything about, but I really like the contrast of colors. I like this edition. And I discussed this as well with one of the volunteers, that this gives like feminist vibes, and females who are taught to just kind of blend in to situations. That's what I think. This is a Canadian author, and this is why I hauled this book. I'm planning on doing the 52 book club, and one of the prompts is an author that mentions their dog in the bio. And when I read it, it got an eye roll for me, because these are the kinds of prompts I just don't dig. But whatever, I play along, and I don't even fully anticipate to be able to finish the 52 books, just because some of the prompts probably won't work for me. And how I'm reading now isn't to like, I don't need right now a nudge into diversification. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll feel like I do, but right now I don't. And so, and then reading a book by an author with a dog, mentioning a dog in the bio, doesn't necessarily equate to me diversifying my taste. It's just more fun in finding books for the prompt. So here we have it, my friends. This author bio talks about her living in, I believe it's Ontario, Ottawa, with her husband, 3 children, and a hound dog. Nailed it. Okay, aforementioned Louise Erdrich. This is The Round House. I already have this in a hardback. I don't like as much as this softback. I did absolutely, like, this is where I'm at. I did not need to haul a book I already have by an author who I have a collection of. However, I love this author, and I would love to buddy read The Round House. And the thing that I've been doing about buddy reading lately is saying, oh, look, I found another copy in a little free library or a thrift of a thing I already have. Would you like to read this with me? And so, yes, alas, Friends of the Library book sales and little free libraries are even helping me curate my buddy reads. So, my Louise Erdrich is in a show. It's a show collection in my front room, which is literally just the other side of this bookshelf. So I want to make sure that I'm not mistaken about having The Round House. Man, I like this cover. I like it better than the other. That's all I have to say. if somebody's not going to buddy read it with me, I might keep this one, even though the other one's a hardback. Wow, today is just a day of conflict for inner turmoil for me. Okay, for today, I'm a Boy by Kim Fu. Is trans literature. There is a lot of writing here. And I think that's the story of this book. I love the story of the book. It looks like names and dates that have been passed along. This book is 2014. Any trans literature needs to be on my shelf. Any trans author or trans supporting author needs to be on my shelf. And I'll read it when I encounter things like patriarchal misogyny and or transphobia. Okay, Bernardo Zanzini, My Stupid Intentions. Yo, I'm either going to love this book or not love this book. I think it's translated from the Italian, by the way, by Alex Andreassi. It's a New York book review book. So there we have a New York book review book. And, those are kind of like I'm to understand, and I think a lot of people that know about New York Book Review, they do a pretty good job selecting, maybe I'm going to call it more indie or less hyped sort of books and stories, but ones of quality. This book is about a canine. The canines that make. It's like an autobiography of a canine. I don't know if this is like a fox or a hound or what kind of canine this is. And it has such a great potential to be like Watership Down, or it could not be. But, again, I'm here for it. I paid $3 for this brand new New York Book Review book, and that's all I have to say about that. Next. There it is. Part 1, My Brilliant Friends, is right here on my shelf right there. So I now have the whole collection by Europa Press of Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan novels. I am not even close to a series or collection caring about person, but one finds this is a little tiny bit damaged, and I think that's probably what kept it out of going into a pile where they were going to charge more than a couple bucks for these books. I don't mind that this is a little bit damaged. It's not even the kind of damage that'll really matter. I am like, I guess now can I call myself a bit of a book collector? I'm certainly like a book hoarder, hauler. This was such a stellar find. And I actually got the first of it. They had the first of the series too. And somebody else brought in another first of the series. So, I mean, it was time for Elena Ferrante to be hitting, this kind of a book sale. I had been wanting to, because I haven't read any of this series or any Elena Ferrante's. And I mean, the global hype is real. I'm interested. I still feel pretty good. Like, this whole series cost me, $9. Except for the one that's on the shelf, because I actually got that with a gift card at an independent bookstore, and it was quite a bit more money. I'm totally happy to support independent bookstores, and I got it there because I had been thinking, okay, if I see Elena Ferrante in any of these sources that I use, I'll hold out instead of reading it just from the library. And I guess today is the day to get the whole series. There it is in all of its glory. Golden Boy. I was like, a couple of things I go through when I'm looking at books is I look at the author bio, and Abigail Tartellin, I don't know, is, this is a UK author. I have some assumption that it's, Italian. Um, but that I want authors from all kinds of different places and backgrounds, and certainly because I lean more into female authorship for a lot of reasons. I do. I'm like, okay, so I've recently hauled, 10 books, and 8 of the ones that I was interested in or that are available to me are white women authors. I have nothing against that. That doesn't say anything if it's going to be a good book or not. But when one is trying to make sure they're cultivating, curating diversity on their shelves, you have to make choices, right? You can't buy every book in the shop. Although I sometimes feel like I try. I believe this is about an intersex couple. But I can't see it because of this gold at all. So I must have read that while being in the bookstore. It's published in 2013, so I am not standing by my published in the 2020s. This book is new. It just arrived at the bookstore. I know those shelves back and forth. So that's what I think this is about, and that's why I hauled it as one of my 2 free books. Well, not really. I might have paid for one of these. American Dirt, I kind of had the same kind of feelings around, but then, I don't know what I saw first. And I know I just in my library review, my bookshelf scan was like, okay, I like Kristin Hannah fine. Historical fiction isn't necessarily my jam, and I didn't know. I said maybe I would read one more after The Great Alone or not. The Four Winds is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. And is that a reason enough to have a book on a shelf? Maybe, I think this is the Dust Bowl. And why is that important to what I'm saying? Because American Dirt says on the front, the grapes of wrath of our time. So I'm kind of feeling like, especially if this is kind of contemporary grapes of wrath, and this is sort of historical Dust Bowl Depression era. That's what I think this is. Since she's a historical fiction writer, then they would be good books to read in the same kind of reading TBR. They don't necessarily have to be back to back, but who gives the blurbs on the back? What? Stephen King, Sandra Cisneros, Anne Patchett, John Grisham, Julia Alvarez, and Kristin Hannah. So what does that tell me about? Is this a commercially viable yet literary significant book? Anyway, it's a beautiful book too. I got them today, and I feel like of all of the books that I picked today, these were the 2 that I was like, maybe I didn't have to. Certainly, I made choices. I promise I did put books back. Even when I got them up to the checkout, I said I made choices. The last book I'm going to talk about, they actually gave me for free. This book is called A Kestrel for a Knave, and it's by Barry Hines. And it was in the adult literature. This is a kid's book. It's a classic. This is a classic. I had to make sure that it existed in my library. And then I said, no, it doesn't matter. My son's grandparents are from Barnsley, England. My son and his father and his grandfather all took a picture by the Kedge statue in Barnsley. And this might be one of those books that I don't ever give away, and I just want to have because I cannot believe I found it. I was so excited, and I was texting with my son's family members and talking about the pit and the photo and the fact that I found this book, and talking about it with everybody at the bookshop. They're like, you keep flashing. I kept doing this, and they're like, stop waving the book, and let us see it. In any case, it was gifted to me. I would say, no, it was like, I think it was $1 a book. So that's what it was. I felt like it was a gift, because these small paperback young adult are all but $1. And sometimes that does feel like a gift, doesn't it? Anyway, I can't believe I found this book too. So I have quite a few I can't believe I found, up until and including the dang dog in the author bio, okay? I have a couple like, let's give it a try. I think this too, maybe. No, this. Even though, let's be honest, New York Book Review book one's gonna haul, right? For a couple of bucks. Yeah, I don't know. This might seem hectic, but I know exactly where it's all going to fit in my shelf or on display. So there's that. And I feel really good about today's book haul.